Ma, have we got any aloe? And in a shocking turn of events, the power went out. Everything. The power went entirely out in the whole area, not just my house, everyone's house. So that is just one of the best calls of just being fucked with by the world. So, yes, as I was saying, day 15 of quitting smoking. So, quitting smoking, going well so far. I will say, just as a fun side to it, a lot of people tend to go, oh, you know, quitting smoking, you just got to put on the patch or have the gum or blah, blah, blah. I'm not a pack-a-day smoker, but one, two, two patches to be able to get through and just keep the stress off your shoulders. Not recommended for a lot of people, but you know, after 20 so years, it's just one of those aspects. Right, so we're gonna kick around for an hour and a bit, maybe a bit more. Let's just see how things go. We're going to keep going with card battlers. So I can just switch over here. That nice little transition. And we've got Slave Spire. This I played with my wife, and it was one of those amazingly fun runs where everything just turned out amazingly well. Just one of those builds that just cracked through everything. It was it was quite amazing to see, but at the same time, I still don't know to this day if I'm going to be able to replicate that level of success. Thanks, Turtles. Yeah, that transition. The best transition money could get for fucking cheap. Because, yeah, I am a cheap bitch. Okay, so, yeah, we're just going to crack into it. And also, like, interesting news and bits and pieces, but we'll get into the game first. So, and I spent a lot of time trying to do this, but I wasn't able to. I wanted PubCam. I wanted a pup cam because I've got Piper down here. Pip, come on. I have a treat. Piper. There we go. Good girl. This is who I'm wanting to have on camera. This is Piper, the Border Collie. And generally while I'm playing, when she's out here, she is right behind me. Scarcely Relevant, the Cheap Bit Show is probably a really great name. Might breach Twitch terms of services, but you know what? Who cares? Twitch, in a shocking turn of events, was basically like, oh, no, you can't put all of these different bits and pieces together. You have to, you can only have chat from us, and that's all you're allowed to do. And you know, those interesting things that you only find out after you start investigating, going, why can't you do these things? But regardless of that, all right. So I'm going to use the same build that my wife came up with because it was fantastic. It was really one of the best builds I've seen. So, and also still got quite a few unlocks on it. I don't know much about the unlocks. It's just kind of discovering it as I go. So we'll see how it cracks along. And yeah, all right. So for this, yeah, I kind of agree. I've been trying with Twitch. Actually, Beck brought this up as well, that as a platform, that's all and good. It kind of does what it does, but it does seem very close-minded, very gated in terms of how it does things. She'd even mentioned that a few content creators will spend the first hour on Twitch or do like subathons on Twitch, and then for their general streams they'll do an hour there, and then they'll go, okay, now we're cutting off Twitch, going over to YouTube, because for YouTube it doesn't matter. You can just broadcast to everyone. All chat is involved, and that I can understand is a very kind of key thing. Like, I'd rather just be able to talk to everyone. Who cares if it's you know, if it's an Amazon thing, then, you know, really, you already control and own so much of the world. Do you really need the online chat distribution service as well? Okay, so as with every Slay the Spire run, talk to the whale. I am tempted to buff the max HP, but I'm just going to go for a fucking relic, because why not? Negate the next 2 curses you obtain. Oh, yes. This might work in my favor, because I have a tendency to be like, you know what? Let's go for the curses. All right. Ooh. It's a messy one. You know what? Meg Turney's statement, left wall, best wall. So we're going left. So in the kind of gaming news, like listening to a lot of stuff, it's been surprising how much of the news is kind of irrelevant. We always end up with a kind of a lack of news for anything throughout the Christmas period. It then generally becomes a lot of people going, oh, I've heard this, oh, I've heard that, as if people are sitting around on Christmas Day going, my uncle works at Nintendo. You know, I've only heard that for the last 35 years of my life, and it never it never just makes you cringe. But there have been some interesting things. Xbox 2 today, Jez was hosting it by himself, but he was talking about the conversations that seem to be going around that that the developers of Black Myth Wukong, I think it's Game Science, have basically said, well, we are having issues with an Xbox version because we're still trying to get it to work on a Series S with 10 gig of RAM. And Jez brought up the very kind of key issue that if that's a problem for you, if optimizing your game for a platform is a problem for you, then it does kind of then become incumbent upon you to do your fucking job and to like spend the time in development. One issue that is out there is that there's a lot of conversation about developers aren't spending the time to optimize or to work well with particular platforms because they go, oh, well, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, we don't have the budget. And I'm sorry, I call bullshit. Everybody has, like, if you were a very, very small developer, about 10, 15 people, I would understand not having the capacity to be able to release your first game onto one or multiple platforms at one time. Ooh, one artifact negates the next debuff. Yeah, fair enough. But I know personally of a few small developers who've had great success. And even with small teams of about 8 people, they released their game onto PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo's. Oh no, this was even before the Switch. This was back in 2014. I don't ever think it came out for the Wii U, but they did manage to release the game on all of those platforms in a relatively quick amount of time. And it was based around that they used a standard engine, Unity, at that point, and they had developed with the express purpose of, let's make sure this can release across all platforms at once. But now, because we're having exclusive money throwing around and all of those, yeah, OMG Turtles brings up, do you think the popularity of the game is overblown though? It was a critically successful game and sold 1 million, but really in the grand scheme of things, Xbox aren't reliant upon the game like some. Like people want to think they are. That is one of the key things, is that the sales for the game is fantastic. Like if you're selling millions upon millions of copies, that is a great thing. You also have to look at what market and what element you are bringing yourself into. Game Science, this is one of the first big AAA games to come out of China directly that isn't externally developed but internally released. And what I mean by that is that Tencent obviously is a Chinese company, but a lot of the development teams and groups that develop a lot of Tencent's games aren't just in China or Shanghai or the Asia region. They are all over the place. Tencent releases League of Legends, and Riot is in Southern California. For them to have their own title. Oh no. Damn it. Sorry, I am going to discard this potion. Want to keep the power potion. For a homegrown talent and a homegrown game, there are going to be a lot of people getting behind you. I know personally that when thinking about it, there was a Spyro game. I will quickly look it up because I am interested to know which one it was in particular. Spyro by Chrome Studios, which was a Brisbane-based developer. They're now known as KMM. Okay, they worked on Spyro, A New Beginning for the consoles and the Game Boy Advance version, and The Legend of Spyro, The Eternal Night. And when that game came out, it came out on all consoles. But I know personally that a lot of people who weren't big fans of the Spyro games, especially in the development community, gaming community, a lot of people bought those titles not just on the Spyro name, but because it was a title that had some homegrown talent. Like, people knew who were working on those games, or that they were a local developer. So you end up having this element of, there is some homegrown pride that comes with games like that, but there has to be that recognition that when it comes down to it, everybody thought, based on the sales numbers, that game would receive Game of the Year. It didn't. And it did win some accolades and awards, but it's not it's not as easily kind of set that was definitely going to happen. Things like Shadow of the Erdtree coming out, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the second one. There's larger elements at play when it comes to a lot of games coming out and how people view them. As soon as it becomes into a zeitgeist, I think that is where a larger and broader issue starts occurring, which is that people try to make a zeitgeist, and a zeitgeist never happens in that way. Pal World is a good example. People just started talking about it, and it grew massively off that. And they utilized the point very clearly that while people were discussing the good side, the bad side, everything else to that degree, there was instead a element of people going, no, this is just fun. And when something's fun, you can ultimately let go of a whole run of other elements and just focus keenly on how the customers, how the players. I have a really calming voice. It is a downside to being Australian, is that we have a very relaxed voice, unless you start like flinging shit, and once we start dropping F-bombs and C-bombs, that's you can get into a really bogan element, and even I'm guilty of that. Like, you can really get some bogan, like, yeah, which I'm not going to subject you to here, so, but nice to see you as well, man. If my voice could help people quit smoking, then I've got a friend who definitely needs to be here having a chat as well, because he was basically giving me props for it, and just been like, man, I wish I could, I just cannot get away from it, which is one of those sucky things. But you know, okay, so when it comes to Black Myth, though, I think there is a larger thing of how people will view the game longer term. And that is that for a title like Black Myth, it is very particular. It's not the longest game. It is a fun experience. It is very pretty. It is very striking. And those things are fantastic for keeping people engaged. Okay. Oh, Heavy Blade. Beck always did pick Heavy Blade. And continuing my run up the left wall. Ultimately, having the game be as well received as it was is fantastic, and I'm very happy for the developers. It's a great thing. But now there's the larger question of what happens from here, because ultimately you then need to be able to branch that off. And if you've made... See, that's an interesting one, Turtles, because that's where I think Qualified Wombat with the Hulk smash. Yes, we do need to Hulk smash this fucker. And there we go. I think, oh, I'm gonna block at least 5 damage from that. The most important aspect to a game, production quality or gameplay polish. I think that there's a few elements in which one is more desired or required than the other. For like, actually, this game is a great example. Slay the Spire had a lot of success and continued to kind of get people playing after... Hold on, I'm going to do this because I want to... I'm going to do this just to fuck with this guy. And hopefully he will split and... God damn it. Oh, okay. He's only got 6 health. Fuck yeah. Fuck you. Dead. Okay. So production quality, I think, is... They're a bit hard to kind of split, because I would say production quality is about the overall product, making sure your gameplay is polished, sound is great. Your marketing and your social media output, all of those things have to be top notch. You have to be showing everything at a really great level. Gameplay polish is one of those things that I think should be considered in production quality, but I will say for production quality, you know, subpar marketing or not having Carnage. I know that that's a Beck approved card because it's just damage. If there's one thing that Beck is always in key for, she is always about the damage. All right. Great gameplay, great games that are fun to play, to have. I think it's a tough one. I also don't want to go too deep on it, but I figure I kind of should to a degree. Okay, so there is generally in video games, a lot of people, like if you ask developers, some subscribe to this theory, others tend to kind of go, no, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But there's the thought of, there's the 5-second loop, the 5-minute loop, the 15-minute loop, and those 3 loops are the keys to how you're engaging with the game. And it's also about the key of understanding what it is you're doing. How do you as a player feel? And some people don't subscribe to this theory because they feel that it's a very predatory way to be able to see games. But it's a key thing to be able to say to someone, what am I doing? What am I doing in the first 5 seconds? What am I doing in the first 5 minutes? What am I doing in the first 15 minutes? Every time you play. Now, at the start of the game, the first 5 seconds should be something engaging. You should be using your controller. You should be interacting with the game, which is why for some games, I tend to bounce off them very hard if they show a cinematic or have no actual engagement once you start playing. If, like, it's fine for an in-game cinematic, it's fine to set up a story, but from that point, once you start playing, if you're not playing, if you're not pressing buttons, if you're not seeing something that is a direct action based on what you're doing, then it can be very disengaging. I think good examples for the, like 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, or 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. There's a whole different run of them. A lot. Destiny, actually, is probably a good example for when it first came out. They specifically set the story and said everything about you. You have no story points or engagement past your character being revived, putting a gun in your hands, and making you walk and exploring a bit of the world. How in the world did I finish Death Stranding? Okay, Qualified Wombat. I finished Death Stranding because it is actually probably one of the... I would say it's the exception, not the rule, when it comes to about engaging gameplay. While there's gameplay polish, I will give Kojima Studios all the credit in the world. They polish their games to a fine sheen. If only they did the same with the story. But regardless of that, they always have a very... okay. Hit you for that. Bam. Kojima games are fantastic when it comes to the polish. And what I mean by that is when it comes to your engagement with the game, the walking simulation, like holding triggers to just move throughout a game, is a very engaged way. Now, it was tough for me with my hands, but I didn't find that much of an issue. It's engaging to be able to take one of the... It's also expectations you weren't perceiving it as a gameplay-heavy game. That's true. That's true. We'll come back to that. I'll finish the thought on Death Stranding. One of the things about Death Stranding that kind of worked in its favor is that it kept... If you weren't paying attention doing the simplest possible thing, which is just hoofing your ass across halfway destroyed America, which, is probably prophetic right now. Ooh. Lose 3 HP? Yeah. I'm still going to find a relic. More HP. More HP. More HP. There we go. I lost almost 30 health. What relic did we get? Whenever you play power card, a random card in your hand costs 0 that turn. Ooh. That is nice. I lost a lot of health for that. Gameplay polish. Okay. With the cinematics interrupting the gameplay, here's how I finished Death Stranding. I had played it before on the PlayStation 4. And I knew all of the story elements there. And for every single cinematic that I didn't have to watch, I skipped. Because I already knew the story. But even when going through it, it's a tough one because I suppose it's more curiosity for me when it comes to Kojima's types of game. I'm okay with his cinematics interrupting the gameplay because ultimately you kind of want to see where the crazy's coming from. If that makes sense. Or I suppose crazy is a bit dismissive. You want to see where the kind of point of view, like where is this all coming from? Like, what justifications do you have? Like, if you watch The Matrix, the next 2 non-bots chests you open contain 2 relics. Fuck yeah. Oh man, I've got no fucking chests on this run. Oh, left wall isn't the best wall. I suppose for that, it is more curiosity for me. I enjoy seeing how somebody's going to justify the points and aspects in a world, and I'm willing to give them a little bit of that leeway. I think that's a better way to put it, but it is a tough thing when you have cinematics interrupting gameplay like that, especially when it becomes an over explanation of a simple term. Like the gameplay loop evolve or change specifically for Death Stranding 2. I think gameplay loop would actually be about, for the first game, it was all about the engagement of how you're dealing with the worlds, that the world has become so separated. And obviously it was incredibly prophetic to have this all occur and then COVID occur the next the next year. I think the engagement that needs to change, or even for the more broad term, deal 9 damage, put a card from your discard. I'm gonna go for that. A gameplay loop, I think, needs to evolve in a way where, honestly, we need to kind of let developers try a little bit more for a more broad range of interactions. And for that, I would say more generally that the interactions that we have with games, upgrade trees, people have preferred to suffer while playing if they're striving towards mini goals. See, that's a good point. RPG aspects, when you can see a power growth occur for a character, even in the smaller steps, it gives you something to aim towards. Like that can be part of that loop. So if you think about it, World of Warcraft, perfect example. There are certain aspects. There are definitely certain aspects, like the level up noise in World of Warcraft is conditioned. You hear it and you're like, oh yes, I'm now more powerful. But with that, it works in the cycle that you hand in a quest, you see the little flash of XP that you get, and it conditions. But that's part of the loop. To talk to somebody, get a quest, go out, achieve something, receive something as a reward, and get a reward towards your longer term goals. That's how you engage for an RPG. It can be tougher when it comes to a game like, say, this specifically, because you are actually working on a smaller, more tightly controlled element of a run will only ever be up to an hour, generally, because you're not built to survive. You cannot really well, okay, Beck has proven me wrong with that with the last time that we played this, where we survived for goddamn ages because of how she just built out a structure for this, where every bit of block became attackable damage that was then able to be used with a full deck of cards that just absolutely slammed, I'll be honest, slammed every motherfucker out there. And I don't know. It's I suppose goals for this, the goals are that with each run you get a little further. You unlock an extra relic, or you get some unlocks on the character, so that next time you're able to get a little bit further. You have a chance of a really good item dropping for you on your next run. But that works with such a confined time and spacing for how you're actively playing the game. Whereas, I don't know, for bigger titles like, say, a Starfield or a Starfield, even a COD, really, there's it's tougher to think about how you expand or deal damage equal to your block. Okay, this is the card we need. This is the card we need. And now I just need to hopefully find some of these cards. See, for COD, they've had those elements before, which is that actually, in thinking about it, in Black Ops 6, collecting the money, finding the money out in the missions, and then you're able to bring all of that back, and you can unlock specific elements that adjust and add to your weapon damage, the amount of bullets you can carry, the amount of med kits, the amount of additional accessories, so on and so forth. It is an RPG system, and that helps guide you and kind of tunnel you towards those things to have small goals, so that you have your main mission that you're finishing, but then you've got these little sub goals of I want to unlock this thing for this weapon, I want to unlock better armor, I want to unlock this skill. Now those can slot inside here just by the simple fact of, during the mission you can go find the gold or the money that's out in the mission. You find this, it helps add to that. 6 people in chat and only 3 likes. It probably is because I have to have the stream off to the side. So I'm one of the people there. Hold on, let me fix that. Would be useful if I grabbed the right mouse, wouldn't it? In an amazing turn of events, I managed to actually get my my equipment. Turtles is a hype man. He is a great hype man. I appreciate it very much. Oh, and again, congratulations on your wedding, Turtles. I'm very glad that you and your partner actually got to spend a moment away from the wedding and everything to take a breather. I think you said you both kind of crashed down on the couch. Yeah. I'd mentioned that day will absolutely will take it out of you. I'm glad, like, the bits of advice that I was able to pass on from Beck helped to a degree. Oh, that's right. Hold on. Let's see if this actually works. Can people hear this? There should have been some applause for you, Turtles. Okay, I have to keep playing. Oh, God damn it. Oh, those calipers would be, yeah. Oh, well, no problem. You can actually thank Qualified Wombat. That's Beck in there. And I asked her about the things that we learnt after the wedding, like what we did, or sorry, what Hey, Pip. Have to give the Piper her treat. Yeah, I asked Beck about those things because they're kind of they're key things that I recognized that were really big issues. Piper isn't tall enough to be able to get the treat out of my hand. And I'll be honest, it's such a stressful period of time that to kind of be more cognizant to help people know something or potentially have a better idea of what they're going to be dealing with and to be prepared for it. She says that, but no. I would have Beck here with me on stream, but she refuses to, and I respect that. And Piper is just sitting here. The only reason she's here is because she hangs around with me, and she knows that I have a bag of treats. So they're the key things. The dog loves me because I've got the treats. I love Beck more than the dog. The dog is a close second, but I love Beck more. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker. And I will not apologize for being in love with my wife. Okay. Oh, shit. Hold on. Damn it. I can't go back one step. Wait. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Should I be bold here? I can gain some more gold, but I'm going to lose more life, and then I'm going straight into an elite fight. Piper is a better co-host. All she's doing is laying down here. I spent an hour and a half to nearly 2 hours today actually trying to get Piper cam working, the pup cam, because I actually have up here a camera set on an angle pointed down. Well, seeing as tomorrow is my last proper full day of holidays, before I start heading into work for a little bit, I might try that tomorrow. I'm going to go grab a bag of milk chocolate and see if my wife just follows me around the house. I am going to be smart here, and I am not going to get the gold back. Okay. So, yeah, with everything, whenever you hear people getting ready for a wedding, or if they've announced that they're pregnant, they're having a kid, no Redfall. I know, Hoodie. I know. I have finished it. I actually dependent. You missed it. Yeah, we played it for about 20 minutes and then shut it off. No, on that, it is one of the games in my backlog. I have finished the story, but I want to go hunting for all of the locks, the small little story crystals through the game, and there's also specific achievements for playing with a whole lot of people. And yeah, if I'm playing that, I will be opening it up to anyone and everyone to be able to jump in. So yeah, 40 seconds, and then I just started, continued on my run in Slay the Spire. But yeah, it's one of those games that is in the backlog. It's not installed at the moment, but the idea being on here, as suggested by people, and some of these are my own backlog titles, but I will be going through the community-based skills. Oh, yes, I did see that. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, I need to go back and get that. Hold on. Come here. I keep getting her. She's jumping up and actually grabbing, like bouncing at me. So I don't know what's going on, but I think she wanted the camera. No, she doesn't. She just wants the treats. Yeah, the community-based skills are actually really good to kind of go hunting for that. So I might actually put that into here. Like this is the games that are installed on this Series X down here. And these are going to be the games that I go through. So Slay the Spire and Wildfrost are recent additions. But all of these games are games that I want to play through and finish this year. They're backlog titles, so it'll just be something to go into. If there's something new that's come up, or we're doing a community game night, then I'll install those happily. But at the same time, I'm gonna crack through some of these. So we'll go back to here. I'm just thinking, yeah, for a lot of people, whenever they're having kids or getting married or there's big moments in life that everybody goes, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, and it's see, okay, I'll get to Borderlands in a moment. One thing I've realized after getting married and seeing family and friends and other people go through rather large things in life is that a lot of people end up they end up getting a bit wrecked by how much of the big important things in life people place so much tension and stress on, and never actively tell people to stop and take a moment. Like a wedding ends up being planned where, you know, getting prepped for the wedding day, and then there's the actual ceremony, and then there's photos, and then there's the reception and everything else. For my own wedding, Beck had a fantastic idea, which was that we got married on Friday and we had our reception the next day, because she very, very aptly went, who wants to try and pack all of that into one day? It's really big. Plus also a whole bunch of friends of ours were unable to kind of make it to one. So instead of them, they weren't able to get away for the wedding, but they could make it to the reception if it was the next day. So that simple little thing meant that we had more people at the reception than we did the wedding. Piper. I'm getting booped in the knee. So I'm being told. Okay, 1, 2. Bam. That skill will be better in time. So yeah, I always remind people for those big things, when somebody's announced, like they've had their kid, or that they're about to have, you know, the wedding come up and they're doing all of the planning. The first and key thing should always be, how are the people? Because a lot of people are going to focus, especially with kids. There are massive things when it comes to, hold on. Okay. There's a lot of things when it comes to the day itself that you didn't drink for 4. That is actually, that is one of the biggest things. I remember talking to a wedding planner that was working with my father when he got remarried. Jesus, it'd be 15 or so years ago now. That one of the bigger problems that he had was that people weren't eating the morning of, and that people were trying to get their bachelor's parties or their bachelorette parties, or all of those sorts of things. They were trying to do them so close to the wedding itself that they would be feeling really rough. Oh, Jesus, I am getting absolutely fucking mullered here. And scrapes through. Gain 1 intangible. Reduce all damage taken and HP lost to 1. Fuck yeah. Okay, let's get rid of that. See, the biggest thing being is, for so much of the wedding, everybody is telling you what you need to do, and there is a whole lot of BS about the simple idea of, oh, you should absolutely do what the wife wants. Everything the wife wants, the wife gets. You know, your opinion should be whatever you want. That is incredibly dismissive. And there are some partners who will absolutely love that. They will worship the ground you walk on if you are with them on every single call. However, they want your input. Your partner wants your input, and it doesn't matter who. It's the idea that it is all your day as well, and that can be a very key thing that I actually recognized and realized that I forgot. All right, hold on one moment. I'm just gonna organize the Piper. Oh, you've got it. Okay. Qualified Wombat is just actually over there taking Piper for a poop. But yeah, not drinking for 4 hours. Yeah, I remember a wedding planner being like, yeah, people, like, most of the time when groomsmen or bridesmaids or people fainting at the altar, it was generally because they had been drinking or they hadn't eaten, and just, you are standing for hours. You are standing around for hours. You're going to be in front of photos. You're going to be here. You're going to be there. You're going to be dragged from every single point. You've got to have those breather moments between. And if you don't, it can just absolutely kick you around. And by the end of it, I think you said you crashed on the couch with your partner at the end of it all. And yeah, it's it can be a really tough one at the end of it all, that you get to the end of the day, even though you didn't pack it too full, you will just be exhausted because you are dealing with everyone. Although on Borderlands, I would say Borderlands is a interesting game, but it is not, it does not hold up as well as you may think anymore. Borderlands 1 probably does better because it's not, it doesn't have as much mimetic culture in it. It is just a very I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. It is a very solid game in the sense of it knows what it is, and it is not meant to be rolling around on the floor laughing funny. It is meant to be that dark element of humor that makes you go, man, this place is just that little bit fucked up. And it works well, especially when you go into the second and third games. If you understand that life has no value there, that can be one of the biggest kind of interesting elements of the game itself. When when nobody has any value to their life, then it can it can be a very interesting story point. Yeah, it's I would by no means say that it is a must play. Even to a degree, the second game, while generally good, I actually prefer the first game over the second, but that is just me in that it's a very particular game. Like I think I said this on one of the earlier streams. Borderlands I played on release on my honeymoon before our wedding in Melbourne in 2009. Beck and I both got it. We were looking forward to the game. We downloaded it to our laptops, took our laptops with us from Brisbane to Melbourne, and then played it in the hotel room after the game had released while we were hanging out with friends. And for that, then we flew back to Brisbane and we continued playing it. We beat the game. But it's a very good game in a sense of just, it was a very simple shooter. It just had randomized loot for weapons, and we didn't have RPG elements in a lot of shooter games like that. So it was unique. It was interesting, which is definitely something that, you know, is a whole lot better than how you would generally look at a lot of games now. Like, Jesus, nearly every shooter out there has some sort of RPG element because they want to have these additional elements that allow you to then push the gameplay loop longer. Like, Christ, Destiny, I think, is one of the best examples of taking the Borderlands formula and then deciding to just absolutely slam it out as hard as they can. So, fuck you, and fuck you. There we go. But for Destiny, I will say one thing. Borderlands has a more invested and solid story of how the world actually is than I would say Destiny does, because it has no real soul to it for how I think of it. As soon as Destiny as a game took that story that was apparently being built out, and they'd done years and years and years of work on it, and split it off into cards that unlocked for when you killed 100 fallen, and then 1,000 fallen, and then 5,000 fallen. Why is it that I am learning things about the world in cards on a mobile app only after killing enemies? Like, your engagement with the game and your understanding of a game and its world should be increased by playing it, and playing it directly. The moment that you have to pull yourself out of the game to engage with the story, that's kind of failing. Although I will say, on the earlier point that Sub brought up, which is actually one of those interesting ones. I cannot see the comment directly here. That's a downside to these chat window things. Talking about gameplay loops and elements, there is one thing that I think is going to happen in gaming, and I think it could possibly, a few people have said that it's maybe something that Kojima is working on with OD, the idea of having a more open game, a game that is played outside of the playtime, which is a game that you can engage with for more than just how you play. And with that, I think it's going to be the idea of the whole Destiny thing was the second screen experience. We all remember, you know, the talk of the Division 1 was going to have a little tablet app that you could use and kind of play when you weren't at home. Then there's also, oh, I'm not doing well here, but I'm just pushing through. There was that idea, but it never came to fruition purely because the server infrastructure in the back end wasn't there, and it was a whole lot of work to develop. I know some developers who were trying, and it wasn't easy, not by any means, but they tried, and unfortunately just not enough was on the back end for them to be able to do it. Ooh. Yeah, this I think is going to be a dead run. However, I think Microsoft was planning something like that for an Elder Scrolls game too. I'd be interested. I'll have to look into that. 2010 mark. It would make sense because Bethesda have always tended to, like, not only Todd Howard himself, but the Bethesda and ZeniMax group were always generally very forthright in how they would work incredibly hard on making sure that they were ahead of the curve. So I think there's actually something to be said that future... Oh man, I am screwed. Well, I did 0 damage. He's going to hit me for 16. This is a death run. And... pop. Desecrated. That fucking slime. Okay, did we get some unlocks? No. No, we did not. God fucking damn it. Okay, so I think that there's a potential way to have people engage with the game outside fatality. Yes, I should have had that on the soundboard. I've got the applause here, but that's about it. And actually, it's just one of those weird things. I found audio clips of a podcast that I used to do way back. I think like 2010 and 2014. And I just found moments from that, which was just weird in and of itself. And I actually grabbed it so that when people subscribe on Twitch, or I think follow on Twitch or something, that it would play these, but I couldn't get all of that stuff working. So I ended up just throwing it on here just to be able to troll my friend if he ever rocked up, which is just...
Ah, have we got any aloe?
I don't know why, but that still just brings a smile to my face because it was just the stupidest, most weird thing possible, but... It's... I don't know why, but I just loaded it on there to have fun with him. The way games will interact, I think, in the future is going to be outside of gaming itself, is about how you engage with the game. Instead of in a direct manner, it's about being able to allow people to assist, to help. So think about it in this way. One thing that Death Stranding did really well, and that you've started to see in a few other games, is the idea of dropping cargo into boxes, not being able to deliver something. You could drop it into another box. Someone else could pick it up and take it to the location for you because they're going that way. And there would be kind of credits and likes and everything that would then get interspersed, that you'd help connect the world through making that connection and having that engagement. because it isn't about you interacting directly with the game. It's about how you have interacted with the game and how then that impacts the other people who are playing as well. And that's one of those aspects that I think can be really interesting, but I'm wondering who's going to be doing it first. I have a... Yeah, I want the tablet companion app, because the Division, like, if you go back, actually, I don't know if I could do it on here. Could I do it? No, I don't think so, but I might be able to. Let's find it. I think I could actually find the original Division 2. Hold on. Let's go to there. Let's find it. The E3 gameplay reveal. E3 2013, Jesus. It was some time ago. Okay. All right, let's now see if I can do this without breaking everything. Let's go to the chat room. And everything started appearing because the internet's going, oh shit, he wanted to do something. Okay, so browser. So smooth, yeah, I know. Oh, no, we don't want to actually play it just yet. Would you fucking mind? Okay, and let's see if this transitions across. Yes, it does. Okay. Don't ask me to do anything more difficult than that. Okay, let's have a look here. I think... Oh, no, I don't think it is, unfortunately. Yeah, it's weird because I know the very moment that that Becca's talking about, the qualified wombat is talking about. Let's see. Division gameplay E3 stage. Because that's the 10-minute... Oh, the stage demo. That would be it. Let's see. So I remember that they called him in at a particular point. Oh, I'm not sure. I could be entirely Mandela affecting this, because I remember that, yeah, there was one of those really god awful like on stage demos where they showed off everything, but yeah, the gameplay reveal. Walkthrough 2015, that's a 2014, 2015, maybe? I always remember that it was up on this building element that, yeah, they called in somebody to help. It doesn't seem it was there. Gamescom 2013, really? I would have thought it was a lot later than that. Okay. I think this might be the one here. Yeah, oh, wait, hold on. I think this might be the moment here. All right. Hold on. Okay, I am quickly going to change a setting here. Oh, look at that. Becca's also sent me the link for it directly. Thank you. Just changing a setting here so that we can hear it. All right. Sorry about that. Making sure that everything is quiet, and I'll throw that into the B audio point. All right. Let's try this. Nope. Unfortunately, I cannot get the audio to come through. Oh, here he is. So the little dude just sitting there. And yeah, it's surprising in a sense though that if you actually look at the game that they released, like the Division 1 still looks fantastic to this day. Like the game still looks amazing. Yet they weren't able to kind of get this to hit off as well as it did. And it would have been so good to have that work. Yeah. I do wish that sort of stuff did actually work, but I'll be honest, I'm not surprised that it didn't. Oh, have a look at that. Actually, the chat stuff did actually come through. That is fantastic. I'd honestly thought that all of the chat things would have fallen apart. Well, I'll be damned. Yeah, it's surprising how much of that tech, like when we consider how it is now, a lot of that technology that we did used to look at and go, this will be the way of the future, never really came together in the right way when it came to how games are interacted with. But a lot of the technology stuff did. Like consider, like the obvious one is obviously look at Kinect. Everybody hated Kinect when it was bundled with the Xbox One, but now people are paying large amounts of money to have Sonos systems, to have Amazon Alexas and Google Home, Google Nest Hubs and Home, the Apple Home Kits, Minecraft Earth. Oh my God, yeah. See, I remember the Minecraft Earth, the actual app for the phone. I did use that for a bit. It was a surprisingly well built out system, and it's surprising considering how big Minecraft is that didn't take off to any degree. It didn't succeed to a level that it would have continued working on. So there must have been a larger cost on the back end for that to actively work out. But that kind of sucks, because it would have been nice to have seen that actually come together as a better app, something, maybe get the Minecraft obsessed kiddies that are out there sitting on YouTube or Realms at the moment, and get them outside, like have it work a little bit more for being able to make I suppose, like, give them benefits, give them additions, bits and pieces like that. Like, that would have been kind of cool. Also, I love this about the Philips Hue system. Yeah, the HoloLens demo. That was the one that Microsoft showed on stage, and I still remember that being fantastic. Like, one of those really interesting things that they did. But it always kind of struck me that for a larger degree, all of those demos are nice to show. It's about how they implement from there. And I don't think any technology group right now is really showing anything except being able to get games into other people's hands with less obfuscation. So, like, it's kind of like the ROG Ally thing, the Xbox Play Anywhere. I think developers are, instead of looking at new gimmicks and new ways to be able to get people to play the game, or things to be able to get people's attention on their game, they're instead looking at ways to be able to get their game into the hands of more people, which is what the platforms are trying to do. But because it almost seems like it's a one-sided effort, Microsoft's the only people trying to put their games into more people's hands without a cost outlay. Like, who knows what the Switch 2 is going to cost? I always think of it in Australian dollars, so it might not work for rough translation of pounds or US dollars or anything. For Australian to UK, it's basically halve it. And for US dollars, it's like 60 something cents. So like 0.6, yeah, I think we're at 60 cents to the $1 US. I don't know if the Switch is going to be anything less than $600 here in Australia. So anything less than that, I'd honestly be surprised if it ships and is sold in stores for anything less than, say, $650. And at that point, you're more expensive than a Series S. And that's a tough sell for that kind of market. So, but surprisingly, when the Switch started selling in Australia, it just absolutely sold out everywhere. I think it did everywhere around the world. But there was more stock in Australia. Yeah, it's... See, that's an interesting one, Turtles, because I think everybody has their passions, the things that they love to engage with, and I think there's also a sense of how people look at gaming to go, we need more gamers. But there is also the people who will not play, because I think there's always a gateway game for someone. Like my younger sister, I've got a sister who's 2 years younger than me. She's always played games. We've had like Mega Drives and all of the consoles and everything. Tegan actually played through Halo CE, the original Halo. She was there with me on the Halo 2 launch night when I was working, and picked me up from work, and we went home and played Halo 2 co-op. It's one of those things that there is a need for more gamers, but it needs to be the people who are willing And that can be a tough one because for a lot, a really large part of the world, they haven't had the opportunity. And I think it's, in a sense, being able, like, it's always the discussion about the areas of the world that don't have consoles or handhelds or mobile phones or things like that. That world is becoming progressively smaller and smaller. Um, yeah, Qualified Wombat has another good point there, which is some people don't have the mind for controllers, keyboards, mice, that control dynamic. That's why I think phones are one of those brilliant entry points because it's yeah, it's very much the same there, Turtles. Like there will be a perfect game for everybody, but to some degree, some people just don't want to. They don't see the enjoyment. They don't see the fun in it. It's not something that they look for. So it then becomes an interesting. Uh, oh yeah, Jesus, I remember when dual thumbsticks became the standard. I I remember watching friends of mine who were PlayStation gamers who hadn't bought like a DualShock 2 trying to use an Xbox controller for the first time and trying to play Halo. Or when Splinter Cell came out, that threw them for a six because the idea of move with one stick and control the camera with the other, it was a completely alien concept to them. There's there's always a way of like as much as I've never really liked the man because of what he did in his personal life, I have a great deal of respect for Steve Jobs in terms of designing the iPhone, the standard touch interface that we all use today, because he did kind of nail on one thing, which is you need to make it accessible to anyone. And if you remove that accessibility layer where somebody can press on something and it opens or it activates or it does the thing, then you've basically wiped out 90% of the issues that it comes with understanding something because it works on the base idea of how a PC works. Like you put the mouse over something and double click it and it opens. Instead, you just press the thing and it opens. That that sort of engagement element. That's why games like Candy Crush even the more complex ones like Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero, Honkai Star Rail, and all of those are massive successes because one, they're free. You don't have to buy it. Two, if you want to spend money in it, they're giving you more and more than they need to. In relative comparison, if you buy $10 worth of credit in Honkai Star Rail or any one of those free-to-play games, you can choose between gacha rolls, which have a chance of really high-end, super-duper awesome shit, or you can choose buffs and consumables that will then boost your XP and your grinding to a level where you could instead focus for an hour using that consumable and absolutely blitz some content that will earn you the experience points or the in-game currency to be able to buy the very thing that you want. Because it's about helping people engage at the level that they want to. And that's one of those things that I think games are needing to do now. We need to make it accessible to people, but it also has to be about engaging at the level that you want to. If you want to play a game and it's a PvPvE, which is still one of my annoyances, PvPvE is fine. But if you are setting the game, you should, if you have it that it's player versus environment, you should have an option that allows you to go player versus environment. Let them learn the systems. If they don't want to engage with others, they don't have to. I know it splits a player base, but you have to allow people the ability to engage at a level that they are comfortable with. And that's actually one of the things that I think will change about gaming. It isn't just going to be about pardon me, gameplay dynamics. It will be about how people engage, what they're doing in the game, how it affects the other players. Does it help them? Does it hinder them? Do they get something for it? Do they get more than what they've put in? Do they feel like they have earned something? Have they gained? Have they won out? Have they gotten more than they paid for? That's how you make a really happy customer. If you give them $190 worth of value for $60 and they can quantify that, they're going to love you because they're going to go, these people look out for me. Like, I gave them $60 and they gave me the equivalent of nearly $200 worth of shit. That's what brings people in. And it's how I think we need to balance the difference, that we still charge a large amount of money for video games. That when, like, we've had the discussion over the last couple of years that, just turning down some of these lights a little bit, that games aren't, that games are too cheap. The games need to be more expensive. So the games went up by $10 USD. For Australia, games went from $100 to $125, brand new. So that $10 bump for other markets, it then throws everything completely out of whack. And that can be a tough thing, because if you're going, oh, we're not selling as many copies of this game, we're not making as much money, we need to bump up the price, you are going to price out your customers. And, like, I spend a lot of money on video games. But even at that point, if they're going to start charging me $125, $135, $150 a game just for a standard edition, there is going to be a point where I'm going to tell you to get fucked. And that's a bigger risk than I think a lot of game companies are really aware of. Because, let's call a spade a spade. Like, there will always be a price point that makes somebody go, oh, yeah, no. Yeah, and actually, yeah, games are viewed as disposable. Like, if you pick a bad game, physical copies of games are now harder and harder to come by. So games don't have that immediate kind of trade-in value element that they used to, where, GTA 6 being able to charge 80, that's actually where I draw the line. Like, I've played GTA. I bought GTA 3 when it went on sale in Australia, and it was immediately banned 3 days later. I managed to get a PC copy of that. I managed to get a PC copy of that before it was taken off the shelves. So it was the originally released copy. GTA 4 I played when it came out, but that was still just standard price game as it was. GTA 5 I got when it came out, but I got the free upgrade to Xbox One, and I played a little bit of GTA Online. Actually, at some point in the future, I will definitely find one of the clips that I've got of a whole bunch of friends and I. We actually did like just a run around in that. But GTA 6, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. GTA 6, I think, will sell a lot of copies day one because it is Grand Theft Auto. However, there is a larger element that I think, Turtles, you do bring up a good point. I don't know if GTA 6 is actually going to be a cultural touchstone. I don't know if it's going to be able to use the very things that have helped the previous games, which is to take to take satire, which is generally where the GTA series is sat, is that it tells a more involved story, but it's a satirization of the world as it is in that moment. The tough thing for satire is that I think Trey Parker and Matt Stone spoke about it beautifully when it came to how were they going to satirize Donald Trump when he became president in 2016. They said they wouldn't. They weren't going to touch that topic because to try and make something more absurd than the absurdity of what is happening in that day is tough. And I think they were dead on about it. Like, as the Trump presidency went on, it was almost near impossible to make any sort of bold proclamations or exaggerations because give it a couple of weeks and it was becoming the very news that we would laugh about and be like, oh, next step this. Yeah, I think Qualified Wombat has a point there. It is banking on nostalgia for the IP and Vice City, which, like, when you consider it, Vice City is a very good, was a very good cultural touchstone for the GTA series because it was the first of the GTA games to actually really be fully voiced, to have a voice protagonist that was played by Ray Liotta, and they also had. They also had a whole bunch of other voice actors in there as well. I might see if I can find cast list for GTA Vice City. Because, yeah, Ray Liotta, William Fitcher, Tom Sizemore, Dennis Hopper, Burt Reynolds, Philip Michael Thomas, Robert Darby, Luis Guzman as Ricardo Diaz. Yeah, there's a whole run of top talent in there. Gary Busey, of course, Danny Trejo, Deborah Harry, Jenna Jameson, the porn actress playing the porn actress in the game, cutting satire. It's yeah. There is a lot of nostalgia for it, but I think there's actually one of those key things that Turtles, like, yeah, you might have a point there. Gen Z and Gen Alpha don't really have a touchstone for the Grand Theft Auto games because the most Grand Theft Auto that they've seen has been Grand Theft Auto Online, where the character is yours. And a lot of people, actually, a friend of mine, Griff, he does the GTA role playing, and he actually had an Aussie ambulance driver who was also into I think it was like stunts and everything else like that. And he would role play that in a server with other people. That's how he was engaging with GTA. And that's how a lot of these younger people are, because it allows them to just kind of play and have fun. It makes something unique to them, which is a key thing about how people engage with games. You want to engage with it on your level. So it's always going back to this point. You want to engage in it in a way that is the most fun to you. But GTA is generally about telling a very specific story with the worlds that almost seems a bit too absurd. And that, I honestly don't know. I wouldn't even be willing to take a punt on that about what potentially is going to occur with GTA, because it's almost an impossibility to be able to work out whether Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta just started on the 1st of January as well. And then there's going to be Gen Sigma and Gen Omega. Also, what is with all of this Alpha, Beta, Sigma bullshit for naming people's personality traits? Like, just take, just Jesus says, don't be a dick. Like, could we just have that as the blanket rule? See, yeah, I'm a bit with qualified. As much as GTA is that once in a blue moon thing that comes along, do we really need a satire of how the world engages, how the world is, to be able to kind of disengage and have fun? Not really. I think we just honestly need to be able to kind of let some other stories be told. Because what is this story? This story is going to be about people who are criminals, or who are criminals because of circumstance or choice, or former people in war zones, or who had escaped, or they're former criminals who managed to escape and fake their own deaths, or former criminals who are back to criminality, who got broken out of being taken to jail. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same story, which is not the glorification per se. Like, a lot of people go, it's always about glorifying the criminal behavior. I've never seen it as that. It is showing that there are people in circumstance who end up falling to something that is the only thing they know how to do, which is to survive. And that's kind of a key thing, except in, kind of, yeah. Actually, yeah, Turtles. The thick of it is a fantastic show. Like, I do agree with you, though. You could not make it anymore. Like, away from the lead actor being arrested on those charges. But and the fact that Peter Capaldi has probably been like, I've sworn enough in my lifetime, and I've played the Doctor, and now I need to go do something interesting. So now he's playing more serial killers, which is always fun to see for him. But that is the tough part, is that as ridiculous as reality is becoming now for a lot of engagement, the stories that are told, when it's no different from what's happening in real life, it loses the edge. It loses the ability to be something that we go, hey, at least it's not this bad. When it becomes that bad, then you will actually find that people will disengage because they go, I don't want to be reminded of the day-to-day. So I think that's actually where a bit of fantasy and disengagement, the way that people will interact with games, I think is going to become more about the individualized connection to everyone else, where it doesn't require us to play multiplayer with everyone, but then our individualized worlds can be impacted by the actions of others, either positively or negatively, but generally positively. I actually think, just an absolute punt. I have no knowledge on this whatsoever, but I think that State of Decay 3 is going to be a lot more bold than a lot of people are thinking. Because the first game was very, State of Decay 1 was fantastic in story, very condensed, very character-driven, but dynamic. The systemic gameplay in it was fantastic. For State of Decay 2, it was almost kind of broadening that out to make it an even bigger world and a bigger area, but it was restricted by hardware and what they were really capable of doing. But they worked and built out those systemic systems over time. I think that for State of Decay 3, it's going to be about potentially, instead of you with your friends in this community on this map, it is going to be about that there's this map here and there's this map there and there's that map there and all of these different maps for all of these other people around you, and that you will potentially be able to organize and go, hey, that's my friend Turtles and that's my friend Qualified Wombat. You could go, hey, I need fuel to be able to, like, I'm really low on fuel, but I've got shitloads of ammo. Do we want to do a trade? So you can then either with your character or possibly send someone from your camp out. They take something to them, they give you something back. Because then that's something that can happen in the downtime when you're not playing, or it can be something that you can actively engage in, allowing you to play and engage the way you want to. I keep going back to these points because I hammer on them because I think it's where a lot of these things are going, but we shall see. Holy shit, we've almost been streaming for an hour and we're almost at 2 hours now away from the power interruption, which surprised. I honestly thought as soon as I'd started it up again that I'd get in and I'd be like, okay, cool, let's start this, and phew. Luckily no. Yeah, we might actually call it there. Like it's actually been a bit nice. It's very good to see you, Turtles. Thank you for dropping by. And flew over. You see Jez and Rando. Oh yeah. Like I still have a lot of respect for those two. In terms, I will admit, doing this solo is quite tough. It is always easy to bounce off somebody. I'm used to doing podcasts where I have much funnier people than me that I'm interacting with, because then they fill every they fill every and that's in my head while I'm trying to put the train tracks down as I get to it. But to the same degree, it's working a muscle. It's learning something new and just trying for it. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And same for Qualified Wombat. I'll see you when I come inside. But it's nice to be able to just kind of chat this out. And even though I had a really crap run at Slay the Spire, we'll just have to see. And also, I don't know if Hoodie is still here. He's probably off walking that beautiful little pup of his. Or maybe not. I don't know what time it is in America. But thank you for dropping by. Thank you to everyone who came in and chatted and everything else. And I will hopefully be doing this again tomorrow, avoiding any issues that come up with potentially power outages or dogs scratching at my leg, needing to go poop. And considering as well that during this entire time, not a single person has started watching on Twitch, which I think tells me exactly what I need to do, which is say fuck you to Twitch. Nah, I'm not going to play by those rules. Like, as you can see, I threw up the YouTube chat off on the side of the screen because that's more important. That if people are engaging somewhere, I want people to be able to just do their thing and not have these stupid one set rules. Like, cool, that's their platform. Let them do their thing. All right. So thank you very much. I appreciate being here and for just being able to converse with everybody, watching me fail at a game and manage to not cock up, bringing up bits and pieces and changing things on the fly, which is kind of nice. So thank you also very much, and shall be back for another stream, more than likely tomorrow. And then as we get back into a working year, we'll work out how exactly we're going to do this and what sort of times. So thanks very much.